morning, and we'll give the floor to you. And you all have.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming.
My name is Brian Downs. I'm the Executive Director of Oklahoma's for Responsible Government. And this is Peter J. Rudy, who's our Communications Director. He's going to get our presentation started on State Question 744. Thank you so much for having us here today. I see some familiar faces that may have seen this presentation before, so bear with me. If I miss something, highlight it and bring it up for discussion at the end. But as she was saying about all the candidates that we have on the ballot come November, we also have a list of 11 state questions for voters to consider. And in my opinion, the most critical vote that all voters will make in the state of Oklahoma on November 2nd is whether or not they support State Question 744. We are traveling the state every week. We've been from Durant to Woodward, all over, making the same presentation, educating people on the effects of State Question 744. It's easy for people to support this when they're asked if they agree with more education funding for our kids and better schools and those kind of things. That's easy to agree with, but what people don't know is the effects of what this state question will do to the state of Oklahoma, and that's what we're going to share with you today. I'd love to take questions at the end and discuss this. And if you have any other questions on the other state questions, I'd be happy to answer questions on those as well. So what is State Question 744? 744 is an initiative of the Teachers Labor Union to increase education spending per pupil to the average of surrounding states, so that we'll increase our spending to the average of the surrounding states around Oklahoma per student. How much does 744 cost? Well, it depends on actually whose numbers you look at. The OEA originally claimed that 744 would cost $850 million based on 2008 figures. You see here the 0708, we're actually using all information provided by the Oklahoma Education Association, so we can give you a bare bones look at what this true cost is for the state. You see here at the very top, this is the OEA's numbers for 0708. Oklahoma comes in at $7,600 that we spend per student in Oklahoma. The regional average in the middle is just over $9,000. So the $850 million figure was based on a difference of spending that $1,400, $1,463 per student. Then the numbers changed in 2009. These are updated numbers, again provided by the OEA. Oklahoma now spends just over $8,000 per student, and the regional average has increased to $9,600. That difference is $1,600. But the OEA still claims that it's only going to cost taxpayers $850 million, even though the numbers have changed. Well, they got away, they really haven't got away with it because there's a lot of people crying foul. They took away all references to cost to taxpayers off of their website that they're using to promote this state question. In reality, the difference of the 2008-2009 numbers come down to $164. But that $164 times by the number of students we have is going to cost taxpayers $107 million. And so, as we start this presentation, not even knowing the true cost of what State Question 744 is, should put up red flags to voters across the state as to trusting what the OEA is telling them. Not everyone agrees, though, on how much we actually spend per student. The National Institute for Early Education Research says that Oklahoma actually spends $8,800 per student, and the regional average is over $11,000, meaning the cost would be $1.7 billion to taxpayers when this is fully implemented. Oklahoma Council of Public Affairs, which is a conservative think tank located in Oklahoma City, have done numerous reports on the amount of money that we spend per student. Their calculation actually comes to over $10,000 because the OEA doesn't like to figure in teachers' retirement costs, ancillary services such as busing and other things. They don't like to put that into a per student cost. They like to get it at the very bottom so that they can paint a worse picture for voters. So how in the world does the state of Oklahoma pay for State Question 744 if passed? The OEA believes that growth revenue will provide the $850 million to cover the increased cost. We know that this is not an option. All of us have seen these headlines for the past 18 months. Last year at the state legislature, we faced a $1.2 billion shortfall. Right now we're looking at an $800 million shortfall when the legislature comes back into session in February. There is no growth revenue to pay for State Question 744. Budget experts across the state say that the only options that we have are tax increases or agency cuts. Now the great thing about Oklahoma is that several years ago, we passed State Question 640, which limits the ability of us to raise taxes in the state. It has to go to a vote of the people or a 3/4 vote of the legislature. With the legislature in the hands of the Republican caucuses, I know that they're not going to raise taxes. And I know taxpayers, if asked, aren't going to raise taxes to the tune of what we're talking about. In order to raise $850 million, income taxes have to be increased 34%. You can see this figure. Right now, our current top individual tax rate is 5.5%. We would have to move that to 7.35 for a fiscal year 11 number of 851 at the bottom. Sales taxes, the state portion, would have to be increased by 38%. This is not including what you already pay on the county and municipal level. Again, our current rate is 4.5% at the state level. The rate would jump to 6.175 on sales taxes to reach our estimated increase of $851 million. So if we can't raise taxes, what else do we do? Well, we shift money from every other agency in our budget. Based on $850 million, that increase would be, or that decrease would be 20% each agency. Last summer, Representative Leslie Osborne, who's from Tuttle area, did an interim study at the state capitol, and she brought in agency directors trying to prepare for the possible passage of State Question 744. And she asked all the agency directors of the state, what would happen to your agency? What would you have to do to absorb a 20% cut? Neville Massey with the Department of Corrections testified that over 8,400 convicts would be released. We don't have 8,400 minimum security convicts in the state of Oklahoma, so we'd have to be looking at minimum and medium security convicts. At least 8 state prisons closed. Now, to a lot of larger communities, this might not make this might not have as much impact, but communities like Granite and Hominy around the state that have these prisons in their communities are the lifeblood of these communities. You shut those down, you shut down the communities. Gary Ridley with the Department of Transportation, we made a huge commitment to our transportation infrastructure in Oklahoma. Over 197 bridges would not be built or repaired, and our 8-year construction plan would be completely stalled with the passage of 744. Department of Public Safety, over 250 troopers and civilian positions eliminated. Higher education, Chancellor Glenn Johnson testified, multiple faculty, staff, and course offerings eliminated, and a tuition increase at the minimum of 33% for our college students in the state of Oklahoma across the board. Now these are 4 examples of the agency directors, the heads of those different departments that came in and testified. The list goes on how shifting that money away to go strictly to K-12 education would affect the rest of the state. You can see here, this is the current budget for the state of Oklahoma. On the left side, in the dark orange, 35.6% of our budget goes to K-12 education. This was last year's budget. You can see that higher ed is 15%. These are the core functions of state government. If you look at what our state budget this past year would have been with 744 applied, it moves to almost 50 cents of every dollar that we spend goes to K-12 education. Higher ed takes a cut. This is only for K-12. So career tech, we're in a technology center now. Career tech, higher ed, all those would receive cuts just like every other agency. So other than what I've already told you, what are the other flaws with State Question 744? Oklahoma is not included in the calculation of the regional average in the state question. Now, I don't brag about my education background, but I know that when we do averages, we include everyone. And having Oklahoma not included in the regional average means that lawmakers in other states will dictate how your tax dollars are being spent. Let me give you an example. The state of Texas decides to increase property taxes to give more money to their education system. Well, that's going to raise the regional average. If other states around us continue to do that exact same thing, whether through appropriations or through raising taxes, and it raises the regional average, well, guess what? Through this constitutional mandate, we have to spend more as well. But we're not included in the regional average. So the decisions that they make at 23rd and Lincoln are not affected by the regional average. It's the lawmakers in the 6 surrounding states that are deciding how half of your tax dollars are being spent. Your representatives that you elect, half of their decision-making process in the budget cycle is taken away from them. Even if surrounding states spend less, this is in the fine print. If you were to go on the Secretary of State's website and read the complete ballot title, even if surrounding states spend less on education and the regional average decreases, Oklahoma's spending on education can never go down. So when the times are good, we're right there with them. But when everyone else falls down and they have to make cuts, well, guess what? Through constitutional mandate, we cannot do that. Through State Question 744. Regardless of financial climate, this state question mandates that education spending comes off the top. We have a balanced budget amendment in the state of Oklahoma. Legislators need the ability to make tough decisions and cut and appropriate dollars as they seem fit. If half of the budget is already determined for them, they can't make that happen under a balanced budget amendment. So what other concerns does this state question bring? Obviously, the appropriate allocation of money is suspect with the examples of high administrative costs. The teachers union loves to throw the 48, 49 number out to us. And the fact is that Oklahoma is 23rd in the country in what we spend on administrative costs. This is a report that OFRG did last year detailing the amount of money that is spent on superintendent salaries. We're cutting teachers across the state, but yet superintendent salaries rose over $1 million this past year across the state. There is no guarantee that the money will get to the classroom. There's no guarantee in State Question 744 that says that teacher salaries are going to go up, or that the fact that they don't have to pay for school supplies out of their own pocket anymore is going to be fulfilled. The way that this works is that through the formula, the money will land in the school district office, and the superintendent of the school board will decide how this money is being spent. There's no guarantee that it ever arrives in the classroom. Past examples, the Oklahoma Lottery. I can give you more examples. I can give you pari-mutuel racing. I can give you liquor by the drink. Oklahoma Lottery is the most recent. From 2005 to 2009, the Oklahoma Lottery has given $135 million to common education. During that 4-year cycle, that's less than $34 million a year. And you know what that equaled per student? $53.21 is what the state lottery gave to each child. And no telling what costs the state has absorbed in social costs, gambling addiction, broken up families, through what we've done through the Oklahoma Lottery. Again, this was the end-all, be-all solution to our education funding, and it's failed. Who else has come out against State Question 744? We're not on an island. We have a lot of friends that understand the devastating effects, from Congresswoman Fallon, State Senator Brogdon, current Speaker Benj. You can find all these on our website, by the way. Even Democrat nominee for governor, Jerry Askin, says it has consequences far beyond what the promoters will believe. It will cause problems. Attorney General Drew Edmondson, even the current leader in the State House, says, I don't care for the Hope petition because I'm worried about what it does. It really ties what we do. Even Governor Brad Henry, bless his heart, told the Oklahoma editorial board that he will vote no on State Question 744. If it looks like it has momentum, may pass, he may speak out more publicly than